Good evening. Wow, this is a great group. Shows you what happens when you get Mortons and wine and everybody involved. So before I start, I just want to tell you one thing that's brand new, just came out of our Board of Aldermen meeting just the other night, 2 nights ago. It was a very distinct conversation. It was a tough vote, but we decided not to build a football stadium in Shaw Park. Goodbye. Anyway, we're going to talk about what's going on in our city, and I'm glad that you are all here, and we're going to go through a bunch of stuff of what happened this past year. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the coming year. To start with, I want you to know that these 6 people up here on the screen are really the basis of what happens in our community. The Board of Aldermen is a good, hard-working group. This is not just somebody that shows up and puts their hand up for a vote. Everybody comes as a unique ability and contributes things that, you know, as far as I'm concerned, come out of the blue that really help to promote our community. We are a policy-making board. That's our job. We set policy for our community, and then Craig Owens, our city manager, and his fabulous staff put that policy into effect. So without the dedication of these 6 folks, Clayton would not be what it is, and all the people that came before us really have the same attitude and the same thoughts. I'm going to get into that a little bit more, a little bit later in the presentation, but I just want you to know that they're here. Are all 6 here? You guys stand up for just a minute. So while I'm giving kudos to people, I will tell you there's another group that I'd like you to see. This is the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. Mayor's Youth Advisory Council was put together by my predecessor, Mayor Goldstein, and we have taken it actually to another level. It's a group of juniors and seniors at Clayton High School who have an interest in city government. And what I have found, and what's probably true throughout life, is that if you want something done, give it to a busy person. Because these kids are involved with extracurricular activities, they're in honors programs, they're so involved in the community, and yet they come to this event, they come to our meetings, and every year they have a community project. This year the community project is to create a website, I don't know if I'm saying this right, to end up with a screen that's got pictures of long-time residents of Clayton. People who have lived here their whole life, or people who are in the 2nd or 3rd generation of living in Clayton. And when you click on the picture, up comes a story about that person and the remembrances, the memories they have of Clayton. So they're working on that very diligently, and we will have that done before the school year is out, and it will be part of the Clayton Historical Society. So all right, so let's talk about 2015. We are a busy place, folks. We have lots of stuff going on. In 2015, there were 15 events that took place within the city. The charge that we, myself and the Board of Aldermen, give to the city manager, and he then gives to the staff, is that we want Clayton to be a destination place. We have lots of things to accomplish, we have lots of things to do, but we want our community to participate. And if you guys have been to some of these events, you know how popular they are, how well they're attended, and how much fun they really can be. So if you haven't been to events in 2015, I really encourage you to look at 2016, because what we like to do is have fun. And when I say have fun, we have new events every year. It turns out this past year, the Halloween at City Hall was a new event, and we wanted to have fun with it. Well, when you have a costume judging event, you have to have judges. So we had judges. So there is your mayor in a white wig and a hammer, and sitting next to him is your director of the Chamber of Commerce. And I don't know whether she's in character as the witch, or is that something? Ellen, where are you? And isn't it amazing that Mark Thorpe dressed up as the fire chief and Kevin Murphy dressed up as the police chief? So we have a lot of fun because we really do work hard and we do have a lot of things that happen. So I encourage you all to stay in touch with our community, and I'll show you a website here in just a minute where you can access to find out what things are going to be coming for next year. So in 2015, we did some improvements to Shaw Park. I got to tell you, I doubt that there is another community in this country that has the generous citizens, both individuals and corporate citizens, that we have in the city of Clayton. We had 2 families who made donations this past year. The Folman family donated this plaza, and it's just south of the big playground at Shaw Park, the Folman Plaza, Family Plaza. And it's cobblestone, it's got a water fountain, it's got benches, it's a great resting place. And the Newman family donated what's called the Newman Green, which is a pathway to the park. It's actually right in front of the high school. And you see in that picture Eric Newman holding the dog. I don't know what the dog's name is, but Eric is as old as the city of Clayton. He's 103 years old. Wow. An original citizen of Clayton, has lived in Clayton his entire life, and there with him is his son Andy, who also is a Clayton resident. So also in 2015, we made improvements on a regular schedule that we do investments in our assets. Ball fields number 3 and 4, which are right by Shaw Park Drive, were completely redone this past year. With the rain and everything, it was a little bit of a delay, but I got to tell you, they're absolutely gorgeous, and the kids play on it. And when you can play on grass instead of dirt, it really makes a difference. And if any of you were around here on January the 2nd, speaking of Shaw Park, this event took place at the skating rink. Midwest Fox Sports broadcast from the skating rink the Blues game, and about 1,000 people showed up for the game, for the presentation. They had big screen TVs, and it was a blast. It was just a really fun time. Another one of the things that we do to have fun in Clayton. And also in 2015, we started spending the money that the citizens voted for us in a bond issue to repair streets. Between the end of 2014 through 2017, we will repave half of the neighborhood streets in the entire city. And we have, before I go to the next one, we have a great program that maintains those streets. One of the big concerns that we had was the question of, okay, we're going to pass a bond issue for 20 years. Will the streets outlive the bond issue, or will the bond issue outlive the streets? Because we didn't want to have to start all over again and still owe money on the bond issue. So we have a program in effect where we invest in the streets during the 20 years on a very scientific basis to keep them good, so they outlast the bond issue. We can then start over again, and that's how we have really good streets in Clayton. So one of the events that we have that was on the list, of course, and that is internationally known, is our St. Louis Art Fair. It is literally known throughout the world in the art circle as one of the very best art fairs in the entire United States. So let me tell you a few fun facts about the St. Louis Art Fair. This past year, there were 1,230 artists who applied for 150 spots, plus 31 artists who had earned the right to return from last year. There were 18,000 pieces of art in 12 mediums. The artists came from 32 states and 3 countries. and they went home with an average of $10,617 in sales per artist. There were 130,000 attendees over the weekend. It was handled by 1,000+ volunteers, and I'll tell you, it cannot be done without those 1,000 volunteers. There were over 400,000 ounces of beverages sold. Who counted those? I think I know who it was. And there were over 60,000 servings of food. And the next fact you're going to get blown away with, it will be part of a trivia contest coming up, I'm absolutely certain. The most important number that you will hear all night, there were 5,700 pieces of sushi sold. Well, folks, all this was done by 2 staff members and 3 volunteers. And tonight we have with us, very fortunately, Cindy Alaric and Laura Miller. Stand up and take a bow, guys. Come on. Anybody been to the art fair knows what a huge enterprise that is, and the 2 of them could not possibly do it better. They are the best. We're very fortunate to have them. So let's talk about new businesses that showed up in our community over in 2015. We got Vincent Van Donut. And if you got to get there early, because if you don't, they're done. They're out. So it's really fresh every single day. They're on Central Avenue. We got Garden Party and David, they're on Maryland Avenue. We got Cobbler's Corner on Central Avenue, Manny and Petty on Hanley. We got Nami Ramen on North Central, and the Polished on Clayton Road, and having been waiting for it for so long, finally 801 Fish has opened up, and we have great expectations for that. So great new businesses have arrived into our city in 2015. Also in 2015, we did a little bit of an experiment. The Board of Aldermen and I challenged the staff to do new and innovative things. And this came on our radar earlier last year, and it is called a parklet. It's very popular on the east and west coasts, where there is very tight sidewalks. What this does is it expands the sidewalk, expands outdoor dining. It enhances the pedestrian experience when you're walking down the sidewalk in the downtown area. It was extremely popular. We placed it in the middle of Central Avenue, and I tell you, even in good weather, bad weather, it was full before the inside got full of restaurants. It was full on the outside. So it will be back this spring. It will be placed in a different location, and we're going to continue to experiment with it, and perhaps it will spread and we will have more, but we're going to work with it and see what comes out of it. Been very, very good program. So enough of what we think we are all about. It is important for us to know what other people think about us as well. And there is a company called Niche, not the restaurant, but an independent survey and analytical firm who does analysis of cities throughout the United States. We have no connection with them whatsoever. But what did they come up with? It turns out they think that we are the #1 suburb in the entire state of Missouri and number 35 in the entire country. We are the best community in the entire state of Missouri and number 60 in the entire country. We are the best for millennials in the state of Missouri and number 21 in the United States. And we have number 1 of the most things to do, as you can tell by the 30+ things that we have going on in our community, and number 22. And of course, this last thing is the thing that brings people into Clayton and that is such a draw and helps our community so much. Number 1 best public schools in the entire state, and number 39. And I'd like to introduce to you the President of the Board of Education, Susan Buse, Gennaro Santino, who is a board member. Stand up. Come on, guys. No, Andy. Okay. We cannot thank these folks enough. They dedicate themselves, as do the Board of Aldermen on the government side. The Board of Education just dedicates themselves to the education of the kids that go to the Clayton school system. And it is terrific. It's why we moved here 30 years ago, and it's why a lot of people move here as well. So Steve Jobs said, let's go invent tomorrow instead of worrying about what happened yesterday. So we're done with 2015, folks. It's time to work on 2016 and beyond. So in the calendar of events, the things that are going to happen, we're going to have a continuation of the popular events that we've had in the past and the introduction of new events. Our philosophy is we do something new. If it works, great. We bring it back and do it again. If it doesn't work, we either tweak it so that we think it'll work, or we kiss it goodbye. So then we move on, but we continue to bring new things on. So in 2016, we're going to have a continuation of a lot of the popular events that we've had in the past. Some have been with us for years, some are just recent additions, and this is only a partial list. What did I do? A partial list of the events that we're going to have. Now, I'll tell you, there is one event that is not on here that I have been nagging about from the day that I came into office, and I have been promised that it's going to happen in 2016, and that is in downtown Clayton, a barbecue festival. So it's not on the list. You can check this website out, and as the events get scheduled, they will be posted on the website. Robert Louis Stevenson said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant." How prophetic is that? If it wasn't for the aldermen and the mayors and the citizens and the boards that came before us and planted the seeds for us to reap, we would not have the community that we have. And the communities that come after us would not have what they have if we didn't do our job. So one of the seeds that we are planting is called the Clayton Summer Associates Program. This is also something that we started talking about the day that I came into office. It is part of the Strategic Issues Committee of See the Future. And it involves the City of Clayton, Clayton Chamber of Commerce, Fontbonne University, and Washington University. And the purpose is to work with the summer interns that come to Washington U and Fontbonne and the Clayton companies that they work with to maximize their experience and encourage the graduates to stay and work in the St. Louis region. We want them to stay. It's sponsored by Commerce, Caleres, and Enterprise, and I'm very proud to tell you that Michelle Harris, stand up Michelle, is the one who is running the charge on this. It's going to be in place this coming year. Our whole thing here is to get these kids that come from around the world to our universities to stay and be part of our community. This is a great quote from a humanist, Cynthia Ogelli. "For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction." So we are going to talk about growth and what's happening in growth. And part of our growth are two facts. Under construction right now are 600 new apartments that include over 27,000 square foot of retail. But to get to the growth, you have to get to the destruction first. That's cool. So in that place is going to be this gorgeous structure by Opus Development. It's on the north end of Central Avenue, 25 North Central, 120 apartments, 13,297 square feet of retail. It's going to be an absolute gorgeous anchor to the north end of Central, an area that has been blank. It's been a blight for quite some time. And here representing Opus is Ryan Carley. Ryan, stand up. We also have this blank space. This is going to be, this was the westmost building of the Brown Shoe or Caleres campus, right against the Ladue border. Well, that is going to turn into this beautiful project of 229 apartments and 4,500 square feet of retail. And pride of 1999 Clayton High School graduating class, Brian Kennedy, where are you? Stand up, Brian. Brian Kennedy not only went through the Clayton school system, proud graduate of the high school. He's a principal in Coventry Development that is building this project, and a resident of Clayton. I don't think he's ever been past 270, actually. And the third project, which now looks like this, which is completely blank, is going to turn into this magnificent structure at 212 South Merrimack, formerly known as The Crossing. 26 stories, 250 apartments, 9,700 square feet of retail, not including, but in the building will be a huge bike storage room for people who want to take their bike. They're a half a block from the metro station. They're going to be able to walk to work in downtown Clayton or get on the metro. It's a very exciting project. And here tonight with us is Mark Carley, one of the original principals. Stand up, Mark. We got Mark Carley and Ryan Carley. Do you guys know each other? Yes, it's actually father-son, but they worked on different projects, only in Clayton. So these are the things that are underway and that are going to really be great for us. These three projects represent a $170 million investment in our community. It's going to bring jobs and, more importantly, going to bring residents into our downtown area. They're going to shop at our shops, they're going to eat in our restaurants, they're going to be part of our community, and this is going to be a very, very exciting time. Well, I don't know if you guys saw this story, but I got to tell you, it blew my mind. This is from Realtor.com. This is a very big realtors website, and they said the top 10 real estate markets to watch in 2016, number 2 is St. Louis. Take that, Stan Kroenke. So I'm not sure what things they're looking at, but I think it's wonderful. I had the opportunity to be part of a 5-mayor panel to a group of Women Realtors Association just last week, a week ago. And the biggest complaint they had about Clayton is that there's not enough inventory. So I tell you, when things go up for sale in Clayton, in some neighborhoods, it doesn't matter what the price is, it gets bid up from there. And in other neighborhoods, they're gone overnight. We have a great community. The school district is a big part of that, and what we offer in terms of services and a safe community is a great draw for us. So we'll be very happy to see a great growth in our community in 2016 as they are predicted. I'm also proud to tell you that a company called Vectra has moved this month their headquarters from Cleveland into 120 South Central. And it happens to be that Jim Voss, who could not be with us tonight, is the CEO of Vectra Chemicals, and he is a resident of Clayton Gardens here in Clayton. So when he took control of that company, he said, I'm not going to Clayton. And they literally brought the headquarters here. I think we see that happening. If you go back to Graybar, where they moved Graybar here, and other companies that like to be in the Midwest, our community is very appealing. So in addition, we have some items that have been proposed that have not made their way through the system yet, but that are in the stage of what we call conceptual. This is a beautiful building on what I call the inside curve of the inside of Forsyth Curve. Do I know where that is? This is a beautiful project, a 14-story Class A building, a $68 million investment. We have seen it in a conceptual basis. We are hoping to see plans coming in soon so we can really make a judgment. And I am very happy to tell you that the proposal of this comes from Mr. Jared Novelli, who is in the back. Wave, Jared. And Jared, we appreciate the investment you're considering in our community. In addition, don't anybody get real excited. This is the fourth proposal that we have had for the old Schnook site at Clayton and Hamlin. But it seems to be going along pretty well. It is a 500,000 square foot mixed use planned unit development on that Schnook site. It includes a grocery store, retail, an apartment, high-rise apartment building, and condominiums. It's a very aggressive project. It's from a developer out of Nashville. We have not really seen it officially, but it has been shown to some people. And again, we are hoping that number 4 is the magic number for that corner. Be a great, great product. And recently, we received a revised proposal for what's called the Maryland School Project. Maryland School was a school that was part of the Clayton School District for many, many years, but has not been used now for quite some time. And some proposals had been submitted and rejected, but a new proposal has come in that includes single-family homes and townhouses. It was just submitted, so it will begin to go through the process. I mentioned before how fortunate we are to have generous people in our community, people that are willing to donate to help advance our community and are very generous with their resources. Well, what you're looking at is the northeast corner of Shaw Park, where Clayton Road and Forsyth come together. The Barry Waymuller Company and Bob Chapman, who is the CEO, have committed $7 million for the construction and 20-year maintenance of this project. It will be creating a whole plaza with a pergola, with water features, a waterfall, a fountain, a great place to sit and rest, but most importantly, a great entrance into the park from downtown Clayton. Something that the people of many, many years ago had a vision of doing from 1937. There was a plan to develop this corner of Shaw Park, and through the generosity of the Barry Waymuller Company and Bob Chapman, this will actually be under construction in 2016. I love this slide. Not everybody has the same vision. This is a picture of about early 1960s on Maryland Avenue, and I believe it's between Lancaster or between Topton and Brighton Way. These fine folks who were residents of Clayton Gardens were objecting to the construction of what was going to be a Continental Life Insurance Company on Maryland Avenue, and saying that it was absolutely the wrong thing to do. So here's where we get to the point of the hard work of the Board of Aldermen I was telling you about earlier. I assure you that if the Board of Aldermen back in the early 1960s had said, okay, never mind, we would not be sitting here in this building and have the downtown that we have today. So the decisions that the Board of Aldermen and I have to make is not what's good for one sector of our community, but what's good for our entire community. And despite the objections that some people have, sometimes you have to just go forward. And I'm very happy to tell you that once again, we have a balanced budget that has been approved by the Board of Aldermen for 2016. We have a small surplus showing, and hopefully we are being very conservative about it. But I will tell you that the state of your city is strong. We are fiscally strong. We have a good financial status. We are very stringent about how we spend our money, how we spend your money, and that's the way that this city will continue to be guided. So we're very happy about that. Now you will have noticed that I have used a lot of quotes during this presentation. And I use other people's quotes because there's a lot of people who are a lot smarter than I am. And so I use their quotes. Well, it turns out that Abraham Lincoln also had a really good quote. The trouble with quotes on the internet is you never can tell if it's genuine. So I promise you the quotes that I have used, I tried to make them genuine. And the next quote that I have is also one of my very favorite. It comes from John Lennon. And John Lennon said, "Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end." Well, this is pretty much the end. So if it's okay, we're at the end. Thank you.